Last year, I kind of stopped making videos on YouTube. I got so caught up in making everything perfect that it became impossible to be happy with anything. Over the next 25 days, we're going back to the basics, behind the scenes GoPro travel videos. We'll be traveling from Japan to Hawaii to LA, Vegas, Miami, Bahamas, and Havana, all to create a new show for the Nikon Z series. The official show will be out in March, but join us here every day to see what we get up to. Don't forget to turn the bell on. Today, Tim eats a hot dog in a pastry. Show us the other side. The end on.
Just make like a 3D model.
There's mustard in there? There's Dijon mustard in there.
You just hit it.
This morning, Tim and I are on a grand adventure to film video clips of me walking around. It is an important part of the show, so I can do voiceovers. Want a coffee?
Yeah.
So one of the hidden gems of Tokyo is Boss Coffee. Tiny little cans of coffee. Feeling the Wonda morning shot, or are you going for a cafe au lait? Emerald Mountain? What is your view of the coffee situation here in Japan so far?
Oh, it's unreal. Everything's perfectly portioned. Everything it tastes amazing.
Except for Starbucks.
Starbucks is no good. No bueno. It's too hot, too bitter. Everything you get in a can is a good idea, though.
What's your review of this?
Soup Odin?
Do you want some octopus?
No, it's too close to the hot dog.
Here we are on Golden Guy, filming Alex Hicknall, influencer, and the backpack, Big Design backpack, is the star of this show, and also Tim. Tim's a star too. Yesterday I brought up the point of efficacy and when it comes just like coming to a park to take photos and coming home with great images. I feel like this was born from the idea that going to a zoo to shoot wildlife really isn't the most ideal situation. There's a lot of issues, not only with photography, but also with zoos in general. But today I've decided to come back to the park and I'm just gonna photograph things that I think look nice and that I think might end up in a frame somewhere that we can use to summarize the trip here. And I feel like when it comes down to it, this is just kind of photography for fun as well, that not everything has to have a purpose. You don't have to overthink it. It doesn't have to be true to the craft all the time, that you can do whatever you want to do and you don't have to worry too much about what other people might say on the internet. There's a fly on my face. I have my 7200, but I also have my 24-70. So I'm gonna start with this and maybe move into the 70-200 if I absolutely need to. So this scene right here, obviously somebody's put this together. This didn't come together naturally, but does that mean that I should be nervous to photograph it, that I shouldn't take photos of it because someone else built it and it's kind of their art? I don't know. So I'm kind of looping around and I really can't find the frame that I'm looking for. So maybe this image just isn't gonna work out after all. I really like the symmetry of the shot. I don't really want the foreground, the bright spot up here. I feel like that's distracting, so I'm gonna cut my frame somewhere kind of right around there and just kind of isolate it against trees rather than including any of the sky. I feel like it is a center composed image, but I feel like it works just with the symmetry and the reflections. This is another classic case of complete overload, that everything here is so photographable. So how do you pick the elements that you think make the best image? And I think by simplifying and isolating that, there's a lot going on in that frame. There's a lot going on in the frame before, but maybe something like this with the scorched out grass and the trees up against it. I feel like there's this one tree that kind of stands out to me, and is the mid-size, the second brother tree up there. And I'm gonna see if I can do something. From here it's not gonna work. I can't isolate it. It's kind of against some shrubbery. It's kind of against some sticks, trees in the background. But we'll take a little walk around and see what we can do. I feel like this is very reminiscent of when Tim and I were in Kenya photographing the doctor's office tree, which I think is still one of my favorite images of all time, the way that all came together. Here's a short clip. On this week's episode, we take a picture of this tree. It's a fine tree.
3, 2, 1.
We don't need to watch the intro. The doctor's office tree is a cliche photograph of a tree from the Masai Mara that is found on the wall of every North American doctor's office. We are out here at sunrise, and Ben has stopped us in front of this beautiful tree. I don't know if you're supposed to point your camera into direct sunlight, but it looks pretty good, so we're doing that today. It's a very nice picture. We'll definitely end up in a doctor's office or a dental office. This is the type of stuff they want. It's kind of that LA light though, where you have haze kind of over top of the sun, so you can actually look at the sun, which is why every photo, every portrait ever taken in LA looks amazing. Because of the pollution. So I don't really know if I can isolate these trees in the way that I want. I don't think it's gonna work out after all. It's a very nice scene, but photographically, I don't know. It's just not there. Maybe with the 7200, but I feel like I'm cheating a little bit when I bring out the 7200, especially in a park like this. Like I'm really just going for that creamy background out of focus, and I kind of want to focus more on compositions this trip, so it's not gonna work. That's all right. It looks nice. You guys got to see it. Let's move on. We did an interview with Trey Ratcliff a long time ago at his house in New Zealand, and one of the things that stuck out to me from that interview is the elements that make people just intrinsically enjoy an image. We then caught up with photographer Trey Ratcliff to ask him about his approach when it comes to taking landscape photos.
The 5 things universally people like to see in photos are some grassland or some openness, some fresh water, a path, some foliage or trees, and last, distance or some mountains. So the more of those 5 things you get in your photo, the more satisfying it is. And there's been this anthropological analysis of why do people like these things. Well, one, people like to see grasslands or openness because it goes back really to our roots on the Savannah, as we're evolving, just surviving. And having open grassland allows you to see prey or predators. They say that's why people like to have big green lawns around their house, because it's sort of a strange thing, right? Why do people surround their house with green fuzz? It's sort of a strange thing, but it kind of gets back to that. A second thing people like to see is fresh water. You're always thinking, how far do I have to go to get fresh water for me and my family and my village and bring it back? This is a very common thing because humans have to have lots of fresh water every day, so you're focused on that. Another thing people like to see is distance or mountains, something that gives it scale to know if weather is coming towards you. So how long do you have to prepare for that weather? And the case in point for the foliage or woods is you like to have shelter to protect yourself from animals or weather, or be able to build things, so having trees and this kind of stuff is good. And the last thing is a path, because a path indicates either human habitation or a game trail. I don't think about this stuff actively while I'm out shooting, but if I have an opportunity to include a path, I put a path in there. If I can show more fresh water and then less fresh water, I show more fresh water. Try to get a little tree element in there, try to make people feel like they could walk around inside this environment. Those seem to do pretty well.
Bit of a humidity shift coming in here to the greenhouse. Unfortunately, I couldn't really take any photos in there because my camera was just completely fogged. One trick that we learned in Antarctica is that you bring Ziploc bags or just any sort of airtight bag. And when you know you're going through such a climate shift, you put your camera inside that airtight bag and then you let it get to temperature wherever you bring it through the door. But if you just walk through, you're gonna be fogged for a little bit, like I am right now. Headed downstairs to film a few of the final segments for the Nikon show. With me, I have my tripod it's a travel tripod. It's very small. It fits easily into your carry-on luggage. But the downside is that having this 24-70 2.8 is pretty much maximum capacity of this tripod. If you want to do something like a 70-200, well, you kind of can, because if you tripod it properly, it kind of balances. It's really not meant for that, and it's just not going to give you the most stable image. So I am at maximum, maybe over capacity, but we're going to go out, we're going to get some long exposures of the cars driving around, as well as just the lights and everything that's kind of going on in Shinjuku. It's a really nice sunset, but unfortunately the sunset is only happening over there and it's not happening where we're at. So maybe tomorrow we'll see how that goes, or maybe we get a good sunrise. But for now, we're going to go out and we're going to get some good shots of the cars and the movement and the city, the lights. Blue hour, favorite time of day for photography here in Tokyo. I think Tokyo specifically, it's very kind of Blade Runner-esque, and if you get out there during blue hour, it's kind of that perfect combination. I think that Tokyo is definitely a blue hour city, and I think that you'll probably see how much that's represented in my work from this trip so far. We're gonna head down to this area, kind of just over there, and do some photos of the trains that are kind of passing by up here. They pass by on the bridge, and then getting the cars and the taxis kind of in the foreground, and hopefully some good, nice intersecting lines. This is the behind the scenes video of the thing that you're gonna see eventually in March with partnership with Nikon. And here we go. All right, blue hour shot, 1/10 of a second handheld. That photo is good as it's gonna get. I'm gonna head over here and I'm gonna steal my tripod from Tim's backpack, and we're gonna get some traffic moving in the foreground shots, maybe some panning with taxi cab shots inside, obviously, necessity path. Let's head over here, set up a tripod, and get some more photos. So this billboard up here is my favorite billboard in all of Japan. I don't know why, I just love dogs. Pushing a shopping cart. It's awesome. I'm gonna steal this. So this is pretty much, this is my main photo travel tripod. I know exactly what that's gonna look like from here, whereas when I'm DSLR, it's gonna be a little more challenging to actually see. Alright, this product here is a discontinued item called the Atomos Ninja Star, and all it does is record your screen, but there's no field monitor. So the new Atomos products, while they are great, and you can do your 4K recording and everything, and you can also record and have a monitor and do like 10-bit log format, but it's not really as portable and easy to travel with. So with this, all it's doing is it's recording an HD version of my screen you're seeing down here, and that's all. And I love this little box, and I hope that they bring this product back in a new form, maybe even smaller. Like, if all I need is HD, so hopefully they do it.
You put the vodka in the soda.
What we have here is the greatest video game of all time. It is a table flipping game. There we go.
Look up over it?